Welcome to the Coach Pony podcast. And we like to think of ourselves as your virtual business hug. And in a surprise twist today, I don't have the beautiful Bobby Palmer here with me today. Instead, I have the gorgeous, super special guest, Tameika G, who is a holistic weight loss coach. And someone, she doesn't know this, but someone I've been stalking online for a while because her Instagram is so good and so helpful. And because I eat so much chocolate, I had really needed her tips. So welcome, Tamika. I'm so glad you're here with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. And thanks for the stalking. I appreciate that and the warm compliment.
Yes, everyone, you guys follow her, Tameika G on Instagram. Go there now. It's super useful if you're interested at all in having better health and just feeling better about your life. But one of the reasons I was really excited to have Tamika here is a lot has changed in 2026 for those of us in the coaching space. You know, AI is a disruptor for us. And also, of course, economic change in 2026 has accelerated. People are feeling a little bit differently economically. But health coaches have a third massive disruptor, which is GLPs, which has impacted how they do business. So today we're going to talk with Tamika about what's changed in health coaching in general, what trends she sees, what challenges she sees for anyone at any level, at any stage in their health coaching journey, as coaches or clients. And also, we're going to talk about how she got her very first client and also how she gets clients today because she is working on a different type of business model right now. And so there's a lot to learn today. So I'm excited to dig in. So that I want to start with our first question, which is just in general, what changes have you seen in health coaching in 2026?
So first of all, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to discuss this because as a coach who's been doing this for on year 12 now in the online space. So it has changed a lot. I would say what I'm noticing now is a lot more volume. So anybody and their grandmother can be a health coach now, whereas before you kind of had to have the credentials and things like that. So anybody can be a health coach. So I'm noticing a lot more players in this space. I'm also noticing a lot of integration of medical interventions, as you mentioned, and supplements. I'm noticing that more people are also yearning for health coaches versus kind of traditional medicine and paths. So while coaches are increasing, so is demand. So I would say that it's going hand in hand. We actually haven't had a hit in our business as a result of all the things. And we do not necessarily condone medical interventions, but we don't support it. We don't prescribe it. So all this to say, things are shifting, but I do think if you can be adaptable and flexible, you can shift with it. And we're not noticing a big hit in our space, particularly in our business this year.
That's great news. I'm sure the coaches listening are just loving that that is the case. So yay. So tell me a little bit about how you potentially address GLPs in your business. Do you message around them? Do you ignore them? How do you incorporate this really big shift in sort of the health industry with your clients and with your business?
The good news is because I've been around for a while, it's new, but it's not new. I say all this to say there was a time when it was, if you remember, there was gastric sleeves and bypass, and that was kind of what was the trend. A lot of people were undergoing surgery to literally shrink their stomachs. There was a time when there were fat loss supplements, and I was coaching through all of this, a lot of fat loss, fat burners and things like that, detox teas, like it's kind of just the newest thing, albeit it's taken a lot larger of a impact. But what we've done is we actually haven't talked about it, which I know is really strange because I get 98% of my audience from organic. So only 2% of my audience comes from ads. And that's just because I started literally 3 months ago. And I have not spoken about it in my content. If I'm asked questions, I'm happy to say I'm kind of medical intervention, GLP or all peptides agnostic. I do not care what you do with your personal body in terms of like medical intervention. However, regardless of whatever you choose to do, you need to build healthy habits. So I've kind of shared, and we have this in FAQ pages on our landing pages and sales pages to say like the healthy, you cannot, I'm missing my word. You cannot deny, that's the word. You cannot deny that you need to lift weights. You need to eat healthy food. You need to nourish your body. You need to watch those cortisol levels. You need to look at stress management. So they're a compliment. So that's how we've navigated it, but we actually haven't directly addressed it. It's been more in FAQs, and if people ask on sales calls, that's kind of our general answer. Maybe for the next launch, we might have in our FAQ webinars, but we haven't actually gone to market and said, this is what we're doing. And like I said, we have not seen a hit in our business. People are still very interested in feeling healthy alongside taking the medical intervention.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The medicine can't change your habits overall. It cannot lift weights for you, right?
Yeah.
It can't necessarily help you sleep better or lower your stress when life sort of comes at you.
They're also pushing it. They're saying, the GLPs specifically are wearing down on the muscle tissue. Like, you need to lift weights. You need to eat. Like, you need to build these healthy habits. So a lot of the pushers of these interventions are also saying that healthy habits matter. So they're almost doing free marketing for us.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I love that angle because it's so true. Sometimes we want like the magic bullet, and you need to be reminded that there's usually more to change than any change, right? You can't just take a shot and your life is completely different. You said something really interesting, and I want to talk a little bit about AI. And what you mentioned is that you're seeing people being even almost more called to work with a human, to work with a coach. And one of the theories that I had early last year was that private coaching in particular would not be super hard hit by AI, at least in the near term, because there's always going to be a subset of people that want to work with a real human, that want to feel supported, that want to be in community, because humans are social creatures, right? That's just part of who we are. And overall, I've been proved right for right now. And when I look at my students in the niches and how things are doing. And so I want you to just speak a little bit more to this with what you're seeing. So it sounds like you're seeing a little bit of the same. Could you just tell me more?
Big time. So we are introducing AI in a big way in our company, but more in like a support. So we're relieving a lot of the administrative teams, like data-based work. So our AI agent can pull data, do client check-ins, look at it can really do a lot of the back end work, but people still want to talk to people. So even when we had, and we actually surveyed our clients and said, we have this new AI agent. We didn't even call it that. I can't remember the language, but we said something like Coach Mika, which is going to basically be like a 24/7 Coach Tamika in your pocket. And people are like, no, we're good. We'd rather talk to human coaches versus this AI bot. And this AI bot could even have voice chat that sounded like me, and our audience was just not interested. So it almost feel like people are having a bit of an aversion to it, because they want that human interaction. When you think about something as intimate as coaching, and specifically weight loss in my case, my women, I only work with women, are having problems being intimate with their partner. They are not going to social activities or being in public spaces with their family. These are real human experiences. My ladies at least don't want to talk to a robot about that. So we're using AI in our business in a very strategic way, but it's to help us with all of the back end work so that people can be with the people, and the AI can really help with all the data and things that we need to support us as coaches. So we tried an AI agent. We didn't call it that. We called it Coach Mika, and our audience personally was like, thanks, but no thanks. We'd much rather hop on a coaching call and connect via Zoom. That was the overwhelming observation.
I love that. And that was a theory I was working with as well, in that AI agents have gotten so advanced that people could just ask them what they want. And so if you're in a program with real people, you're going to want to default to actually talking to the people. That's why you bought the program.
Yeah.
Right. Because you could just ask your own AI agent to figure some other stuff out for the most part. I had theorized that those things would become less valuable inside a program with live support and other stuff because people are there for the live stuff.
Yes, exactly. And community, right? We did groups. So having 20 women on a call that experience what you experience, feeling seen, feeling heard, it's really hard to mimic that with an AI agent. So the community piece is also a big one as well, to your point.
Yeah. I've been a long believer that is a moat for coaches with AI too. It's not just the chance to interact with us. One of my students and I had a conversation. I was helping her with something and she was just like, wow, you're so much better than AI. And I was like, well, thank you, I guess. But also the community experience. We just had a coaches and coffee call for my students, and they're able to just connect with each other and build relationships. And again, you can't do that with AI. We can't replicate that experience.
Yeah. And I would say also in terms of coaching, I obviously use AI more times a day than I even want to admit. I'm looking at my phone right now like it's a real person. And I'm like, it's not going to push me to be my best self. Like there's no way it's going to push my limit. It tries in a way, but I got to prompt it. Or it's not as intuitive as a human is. Like AI is not going to text me and say, I haven't heard from you in a while. What's going on? At least not yet, or at least not the AI that we use. So there's also an element of coaching where we're going to push you to be your best self and step into that potential. And I don't know that AI has the capacity, at least in the way that I've seen it yet. So we still have an advantage as humans to actually help one another be better.
Yeah. AI cannot look at you and say, oh, I see the resistance right in your body, or see how something's, tell me more about that. Right.
Exactly.
And yeah, that is so powerful. So while we're just on the subject of AI, because I know everyone's curious, what's the one in your business, what's one sort of AI tip or useful thing that you would recommend to other coaches to do that you found super, super helpful?
Yeah. So we're putting an AI agent in, and the way we're instructing our clients to interact with it is not like go to it for advice. It's really just embedding your program into an agent so that the frequently asked questions are readily available. So for instance, this is a salmon recipe. I hate salmon. Like, what are the alternatives? Like, there are questions that truly an AI agent can do that's not going to mimic a human in any way, but just be a data giver, and distill it in a way that's not going to be in a 30-page PDF. It's almost like a really interactive FAQ. So we're going to start testing that in our September launch, and just having it and really finding a way to word and position it as this is just like a question database that we have our frequently asked questions, where if it's not there, then then the agent will ping a human right away and you'll get like a coach in your back corner. But we've been doing this for 12 years. There are a lot of questions that we have heard. So go to this database first. So we just have to be really careful with our language, but I do think there's an opportunity to help with some of the volume that comes our way in terms of those repetitive questions that an FAQ portion of a course just can't really do.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I really like that use case for AI, because I agree with you. In my program, we get a lot of the same questions.
A lot.
And yeah, and it is nice to be able to point them to an answer or have them, a tweak, have AI make the tweak for them.
Yeah.
To help them get there faster. So for sure. Are there any AI tools you're using sort of behind the scenes that are like your best tool that you really like, that's helping you sort of in the back end?
I don't think anything outside of what people are using. Like I've definitely just started to dabble into Claude Cowork. I know it's the rage these days, and I'm drinking the juice. It's amazing. So we're just now like introducing Claude Cowork to like actually respond to emails, which still feels a bit weird. So it's in drafts right now. So I'm not like fully in, but I'm like knee deep, because it is quite powerful. And like I said, the administration on my team is quite big. So to be able to allow them to do more meaningful creative work, I gotta work through the kinks in the learning curve, because it is quite steep.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And there is something too about, I'm always afraid of like, I just want people to know that there's a real human on the other end.
Well, I know. I'm really concerned about humanity. And I think a lot of us are secretly, like, we understand the use case and we believe in it for business, but also like, yeah, even as a user, like I have my own set of coaches and like support in my life. And yeah, and I just like, can I just talk to the person? Like I just really miss the person. It's a very interesting balance. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, when I do automated phone things, I'm always hitting 0, like immediately.
Right?
Like, just connect me to an agent, like a real person.
Or the chat bots are like, can I talk to a person? Can I talk to a person before like, it could probably help with my question, but I just want a person. And our audience is saying the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good to keep in mind. And again, what we do is so human focused.
Yeah.
That we have to keep in mind we are really serving humans. So now I want to jump into our time machine and step back to when you first started becoming a full-time health coach. Can you tell us how you got your very first client?
So would you believe, I think it's really important to share how I did this, because this was back in 2013. I had like, I'm going through my timeline. I think at that point I had just lost 100 pounds and I drank the juice of health and wellness. I was like, I want to help everybody. And it was 15 years ago. So yeah, about 2013, 2012. I can't remember. But I got my personal training license and I started training people in person. And then I got a job offer. At that point, I was still working my 9 to 5. I got a job offer to move to Hong Kong from Toronto. And it was a 3-month secondment. And I had all these personal training clients. It's like my side hustle. And they were like, well, I still want to train you. I was like, well, I guess we could just do it online. And at this point, we were doing like WhatsApp phone calls. Like there wasn't Zoom or anything like that. So my first few clients actually just transitioned from in-person to online because I actually physically moved and they wanted to continue working with me. So I was giving them plans over email and PDFing it. And that was like cutting edge at the time. And it was just like very, very, very basic. But they were giving me, and then I was just getting like, I guess the equivalent of Venmo at the time, maybe like, I don't even know, but I was just getting email money or online money in my account. I was like, there's something to this. So fast forward 3 years later, I quit my full-time job and I just started drilling in on it about 2016. But my first client came from in-person moving to online. And then when I actually built out the online business model, my first client came from my Facebook. Like I remember at this point, I didn't have an IG. I didn't have a social media presence. I would just put myself out there to my friends and family and said, do you know anybody? And would you believe my first 5 clients came from that? And then, as you know, you then get the test case, the testimonials and their friends, and you can start promoting. And then now people who are starting have the beautiful age of social media. I didn't have that. It was grassroots, as grassroots as it comes. It was my starting.
I love that story. And a commonality, I did a whole season of the podcast with different coaches asking how they got their first client. And a big commonality is you put yourself out there and it often comes through your network.
Yeah.
Right. In the very beginning. And then you start to develop a little bit of traction and get a bigger reach and figure some things out. So I love that story. So I want to talk about where your business is today, because you have such a cool business. I remember last year you were taking people on retreats and doing like really cool health and wellness things that sounded fantastic. And now you are changing your business model a little bit. And so can you just tell us about your business today? So talk to me about your programs, your clients, talk to me about all of it.
So we're in a similar mastermind and there was a particular session that really spoke to me. It was the 10 times easier than 2 times session, where I realized that I had 5 product offers at the time. And I just loved being the yes person to helping people in any way I can as it relates to health and wellness, because I can do so much. And in that session that we were both in, I realized that I was just spread so thin. So yes, I was doing the retreat. I had 2 offers. I had all of these things. I just decided to drill down into 1 offer. And at the same time, I was also separating from my business partner. So she was all over all of our signature program. And I had to rebrand and recreate everything. So I would say in some ways, I'm a bit of a founder started this year. I've drilled down to just 1 signature offer, a 3-month coaching program that launches 3 times per year. We are nailing the launch model. We're not even doing evergreen at this point because we're just really figuring out this model. And I have just 2 coaches on my team that are helping to help deliver on this. We're grassroots and beginning again, because I realized that if I can just focus on one thing and it's already proving to be successful, I can really scale up. I was just spread too thin. And I know a lot of coaches feel this way, like they're the yes woman or man and just say yes to all the things and creating new programs and new offers as it comes because to meet people's needs. And I've just decided I'm going to stay in my zone of genius. I'm going to maximize this zone of genius, and I'm going to be the best coaching program that exists for women who want not only holistic weight loss, but also building healthy habits. So our program is a habit building program. We help women with 6 specific habits. And on week 1, we start really, really small. And each week we kind of gradually build them up so that by week 12, they're more invested in these habits. It becomes more second nature. And then hopefully they continue to work with us. So 1 signature offer, which is wild because I've never just had 1 thing I'm working on.
That's always music to my ears to hear, because my biggest thing with coaches and helping coaches get their businesses off the ground is just, I always tell them focus and do less, but do it better. You know, have 1 main thing that serves the majority of your niche and really do that and do that incredibly well. It's so much easier than trying to do a bunch of things.
I know.
So I love hearing that that's what you do. And so you launch it 3 times a year. Tell me, because I know coaches will be interested. Tell me a little bit about your launch model. How do you enroll people into the program? How do you get them excited about it?
So I'll say really quickly before I go into the launch model, I understand that because we went into the coaching space wanting to help people. So it is one of the biggest things has been people come my way saying, do you do this? And I'm like, no, I only do this. And just like, that's anti why we decided to be coaches. We wanted to just help people, but niching down and focused has fundamentally changed the way that I look at business. There is something really fascinating about putting however many hours you week, let's call it 40 hours a week into one thing and optimizing the one thing. And just, I spent all of last week on one piece of my funnel. That has never been up, like optimizing a tripwire, like that, a whole week on that. Like the results are just spectacular. And maybe that's the reason why I haven't been impacted by the industry and all the things we're hearing in terms of the trust recession. Like I just have space to focus on the one thing. So my funnel, I launch 3 times a year. Our busiest times of the year is, of course, January. So the new year, new me crowd. And then spring. So this is kind of the getting ready for summer. And then fall. So the summer happened. I feel really crappy about myself. I'm ready. The kids are back in school. I'm ready to kind of go back at it. So those are the 3 times of year that we launch. And we do a challenge. So this is basically an opportunity for people to kind of try before they buy. So they have an experiential week with us where they get to build healthy habits, show up every day. We go on daily walks. We do trainings. It is very, very low lift. So in terms of us, because from our perspective, we're just repeating the same challenge. We'll have a new package, but basically we're just rinsing and repeating that challenge 3 times a year. For clients, they love it people, they love it because it's $47. So it's, again, low barrier to entry, and they get to experience us. And then in that challenge, we'll pitch our actual program. We open cart for just 10 days. And in those 10 days, we'll hit the challenge folks. We'll also hit our general audience. We'll hit social media. We'll kind of just spray and say we're open. And then we close it and we just deliver for 12 weeks. And this business model I've designed now, we launch 3 times a year. My team gets August off, which is amazing because we're just doing one thing and we're just able to rinse and repeat. So we do 4-day work weeks. It's been really a gift to everybody in all aspects. It's like win, 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 win going this route. That was not the case for 10 years. By the way, this is very new and very exciting.
Yeah, I've had both a launch model business and an evergreen hybrid launch model business as well. And I will say one of the launching, it can be tiring, but one of the advantages is that at some point your cart is closed. And so you can plan bigger time off and more downtime because there's periods where you are not serving clients. Yes. And that can be really, really nice.
So I did evergreen. I'll challenge that. I did evergreen for 10 years. I just moved to the launch model and I'm obviously a newbie, but I actually thought the evergreen model was more exhausting. And maybe that's just the way that we had it set up. I did. Being constantly on, for me, for my energy, I'm maybe more of a sprinter than a marathoner. So I think it could also be aligned with energy, like showing up for 10 days. And once the model is repeatable, I think the problem is with launching is people are always trying to change their launch and do sexy things. Like we repeat the same thing. The challenge is the exact same thing. I know and I've only done 3 at this point. I know my scripts down to a T. Like it's almost like you're just on for 10 days and then you're off. And I don't know. I think once you rinse and repeat and optimize it enough, and that's all you're doing. Again, a lot of people are doing the hybrid, trying to juggle the evergreen and the launch. That's what felt really exhausting. But just during the launch, I haven't experienced that level of fatigue yet because it's rinse and repeat and because I'm only doing one thing. So that's my experience. But I did evergreen for 10 years and I found it quite challenging. I think we optimized really well, but what do I know?
No, it's true in that evergreen, there's a lot of flexibility in it, but you do have, you're never completely off. And that, I think that compounds over time, especially like you start to notice it more and more the longer your program is evergreen, especially if you have a high touch program. Yeah. So like, I totally get it. And I'm glad you shared what you did because I think coaches don't always understand what we're getting into with some of our business models. And it's good to know the pros and cons of each. Like launching is a lot of energy, but your cart closes and you're complete with your clients and there's downtimes that you can plan on. Evergreen is not the same amount of really big energy, but over time it can be a big drain. And so there's pros and cons to each. Launching also creates excitement. People want to join. They only have a limited time. Evergreen means people can join at any time. You can catch them when they're ready, but they might not have the same level of excitement because why join today when you can join tomorrow? Right. Yeah. So there's pros and cons to each. So I want to address all of our new health coaches for a second as we wrap up. And this is my last question. So if you were talking to a brand new health coach today, no clients, super shiny, super excited, what is your best piece of advice for them starting out?
God, and like just one piece.
You can have two.
Okay. I was going to say, because I'm struggling between like the business piece and then the alignment piece.
Give us
So,
both.
okay. So the business piece, I would say, I personally always think you should start with, before you kind of build up this beautiful program, just start with 3 people, go one-on-one, understand who you want to work with. And this is kind of the alignment piece and where you're best at, because health is a really broad topic. And a lot of people are doing everything and nothing really great. So focus in on one aspect. Like, where's your zone of genius? Do you do well with perimenopause, menopause, moms, like young women? Like, what is your zone of genius? Who is your avatar? Like, dial in on that. And the only way you're going to do that is by doing. So you're going to start to realize really quickly, if you just take on 10 clients of 10 different profiles, who you're going to drive with, who you like. And then that leads into my second piece is alignment. I find so many health coaches are so annoyed with the people not showing up and this. So then maybe you need to deal with high performers and athletes. Like, we've got to align who we want with like how we want to serve. And I think a lot of people aren't taking that time. They're just lumping health into one big topic. And I'm like, we've got to drill down, we've got to niche down, but we also got to see what's in alignment with how we want to coach. So I wish I could go back and tell. Now I know exactly who my avatar is. Her name is Simone, and she's like, I know her down to a T. I know like her panty size. Like, we get real granular. But back then I was taking on anybody, and I found myself loathing my business a lot because I wasn't drilled in on who actually fueled me.
Yeah. I like the last thing you said. I wasn't drilled in on who fueled me. A lot of coaches think, to your point, we have to serve everyone. We don't want to leave anyone out. But your business is also about you, and you've got to choose people that make you excited. And that's okay. That's okay. And in fact, that's going to be better because you're going to get more traction. You're going to be a big fish in a small pond. Like, I talk about niching endlessly, you guys. There's more videos on niching if you watch those channels or listen to the Coach Bunny podcast. So go find those. But I love how you framed that. That was beautiful. And wait, so we've got your business. We've got both things, right? I just want to make sure.
I think I kind of merged them into one, but yes, we got both. Both thoughts are out.
Awesome. And so one thing Bobby and I often do is we like to do like business and life advice, like a tip. And I would love to invite you, if you don't mind, to share like your favorite recipe or something, because I need some recipe ideas. Fit and healthy. So I'm just going to be selfish here, but like a life tip, you guys, is to fuel your body. And would you mind sharing something like that? We can go look it up on your blog or wherever, but just point us in a direction.
So I have something that I've designed and coined. It's the batch and build method. And I think it can be a game changer for women. So a fun stat is we make over 200 food decisions a day. Like, not just what am I going to eat, but like, what's the side? Where am I going to order from? Do I want fries? Do I want a salad? Okay, if you're making it at home, do you want oregano? Do you want basil? Like, all those micro decisions, over 200 a day. Don't quote me, but that's what I heard. And if we can remove that by something as simple as batch cooking, we free up so much space for like the things that actually matter. So my batch and build method is just cook one protein, like in batch. So let's use ground beef as an example. If you just cook 2 or 3 pounds of ground beef on a Sunday, which takes maximum 40 minutes, throughout the week, you can make a taco bowl. You can make a burrito. You can take that cooked meat and add it to some 10-minute pasta, make a little bolognese. Like, if we can figure out a way to remove the food noise in a day-to-day and just free up our space for things that matter, that will allow us to just have such a more fulfilling life. I think food takes up way too much of our capacity, and the batch and build method is, I have a program on it. It's called Prep Like Her. It really just allows you to free up that space and batch in a way that's not going to have you like line up 16 meal containers and like, do all the fancy stuff that we see on social media. Like, it's a really low lift way to prepare your meals and free up that space, mental space.
I don't think I've ever heard that before, and I love it. Pick like one protein, make that, and then use that as the basis for everything. Because I always like fall apart with the meal prep, but like I feel like I could do that. Like that's my level. I appreciate that.
Yeah, because I see these meal prepping videos, and I mean, I'm also guilty, like where we line up the 16 like glass containers, but it's overwhelming. So cook one protein, make 10-minute sides in your evenings, and you got dinners for the week.
Awesome. So thank you so much for your time, Tamika. Can you tell us and everyone in the community where to best find you and how to get more involved in the work that you do?
So I'm most present on social media, Instagram, Tameika, that's Tameika G, and all my stuff is there. So everything I have to offer is on Instagram, but that's where you can find me if you just want to see what I'm about and how I serve my audience.
And guys, I cannot say it enough. Her Instagram is so good. It really makes you feel like you can do this.
Because you can.
Which is like, it's so helpful, so useful, you guys. Definitely follow her follow her for health coaching tips, but also follow her just to see how good she is at this on Instagram. So there's a lot to learn from that too.
Thanks for
awesome.
That.
So everyone go to Tameika G, like follow her, do all of that. And as we wrap up today, if you're looking for more help in your business, by all means, go to coachpony.com. We have an amazing 14-day action blueprint on how to find your next paying client in 14 days or less. And no, it actually does not involve any social media. So if you are interested in that, it's free. You can find it on our homepage over at coachpony.com. So go and grab it. I will make sure the link is in the show notes and below this video. And with that, we're actually wrapping up this season of the Coach Pony podcast. We're going to take a month or two off for the summer while we go and create more amazing content for you. So I will see you guys in a few months down the road on the next podcast. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you later.
Bye.